In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create and sell blank notebooks on Amazon KDP. Now, this is going to be a complete tutorial, and I'm even going to walk you through this click by click on my own computer so you can follow along on yours. And by the end of this video, you will have your book uploaded to Amazon. Now, guys, this video probably could be a paid course, but I'm on a mission to give you guys all of these course level videos for free here on this YouTube channel. So all I ask is if you do find yourself enjoying this video as you're watching it, please just give it a thumbs up, let me know down in the comments, and share it with a friend who you think would also enjoy it. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's switch over to the computer and get straight into this video. All right, so switching over to the computer here, the very first step is to go over to Google and type in Amazon KDP. Now, once you find the result, it's typically the first one here, unless there's an ad that says kdp.amazon. This is going to be the one that you want to click on. This one is actually Amazon. So once you do click on this, it's going to bring you to this page, which is Amazon KDP's homepage. Now, for those of you who are newer to this business model, KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. And essentially what that is the division of Amazon where you can create and sell books on Amazon. Now, the very big thing to clarify straight away here is that one, we are not creating full-fledged novels. You don't have to be an author to do this. And secondly, by using Amazon KDP, we are not actually printing and shipping out the books. This is what's really cool about this business model, is that we are just creating the files, essentially the front and back cover, and the files of what's going to get printed on each page, and we upload those to Amazon. Amazon then creates a virtual listing for that book. And when anyone comes in and purchases that book on Amazon's marketplace, Amazon receives the order, Amazon prints it in their book printing facility, they ship it out to the customer and handle all of the customer service, and we as the seller of that book are just getting a split of the profit on every order. Now, in order to make sure all of this makes sense, let me switch you over to Amazon and I'll show you some real examples of this and how you can figure out which books are being done with KDP. All right, so switching over to Amazon to find some of these books, you can type in any type of book, and a little bit later on here, I'm going to give you a bunch of different categories you can use for KDP. So these are going to be different things you can search and find more examples like this. But for instance, I'm going to type in blank notebook, and we're just going to give that a search. And then I'll show you which ones of these are done with KDP. So scrolling through these results, the first ones here are all actual photos of the products, which means that they are actually being held in inventory and they're being shipped out to customers. They are physical products. However, if you keep scrolling down here, you are going to eventually come across some that just have mock-ups of their covers. This is just a mock-up of this cover. So you can see it has no dimension to it. It's just kind of that art file of what's going to be on that cover. But what so many people don't know is that as you're scrolling through Amazon, the books that have covers that look like this, they're not actually printed yet. It's just a virtual listing. So if we click on this, you're going to see that this is just the art file of the front cover right here, and then the art file of the back cover, which in this instance is actually just left blank. It's just the color blue. And although this is a very basic example here, this is an example of a blank notebook on Amazon being done with Amazon KDP. Anybody can come in here, they can add it to their cart, and then Amazon automatically receives that order. They print it, ship it, handle customer service, and we again just get a split of the profit on that sale. Now, what we've just looked at is kind of the foundation to this business. So that is a very general example of a blank notebook on Amazon KDP. The thing that most people don't know about this business is that you can create way more than just blank notebooks. There are tons of different types of blank notebooks. I'll even put up a big list on the screen right here of just some of the good ideas. As you keep doing your research and you start searching on Amazon's marketplace, you are going to find even more categories than this. And the cool part about this business is that you can use the same process I'm going to show you in this video to create all of these categories of books. All you have to do is change out a couple things like what the cover says of what type of book it is, and then what the actual layouts are inside the book. Okay, so lastly, before we get started here, I want to show you some real examples of these KDP books. So these are what they look like when they get printed and shipped out to the customer. So here's an example of one of these categories of books. This is a password logbook. So you can see it has the front cover, it has the back cover, and then every page inside has the same layout. This is what makes it easy to create. So this is just a layout to keep track of your passwords. The same thing is printed on every page. Guys, here's another example. This is more of a blank notebook. It has a funny cover on the front. As you see with a lot of these, it has nothing on the cover on the back. It's just left blank. And then inside of this book is just lined pages. Again, the same thing on every page. Okay, and then the last examples I want to show you here are word search books. These are actually really cool. On each page here is a custom word search puzzle. Now, these are a little bit more involved to create, but once you know the process, it's actually very easy. Word search books like these are another really good category to go into. For those of you who do want to learn how to create these word search puzzles, I've already made a full step-by-step tutorial walking you through every step for this specific type of book. So I'll put a link to that video down in the description below. Again, it's a free video here on YouTube in the same format as this one, so it'll walk you through every step. So guys, now that we've seen real examples of what this looks like on Amazon and what this looks like in person when they actually ship out the books, what I'm going to do now is put up that big list of different ideas that you can create books about, and then we'll pick one of these that is still an undersaturated niche, so a good one for you guys to get in on early, and that is what we will use for this video specifically. So in this video, we will use the niche of creating blank music sheets. For any of you guys out there that play instruments, this is the manuscript paper. So this is what you actually write out these songs on, and essentially what this is a blank notebook specifically for musicians. So we'll go ahead and walk through every single step here. I'll show you how to create this from start to finish, but just know very importantly, the same process I'm about to show you, you can just swap out the design of the cover and pick a different layout to go inside the book, and then you can rinse and repeat this into all different types of books and niches. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into this. So let's come back over to Amazon's homepage here, and let's type in blank music, and it's going to start suggesting things to us. So blank music sheet notebook, or sheets, or notebook. As you can see, Amazon is already auto-suggesting some of these ideas to us, and whenever you see a result in the auto-suggestions that it's trying to complete what you are typing in, that means that there are a lot of other people currently searching for that on Amazon. That's why Amazon is suggesting it. It's because they are guessing that that's what you are going to be searching for. So we're going to click on blank music sheet notebook, and then here are the results right here. So as we start scrolling through here, we want to get an idea of what do the covers look like, what are ranking on the first page, which means that generally those are selling, and then specifically what is inside of these books. So we already know that it is a blank music sheet notebook, but what does that mean inside of the book? So let's click on one of these and get an idea. So in this book specifically, they have a cool cover design, which is showing you kind of a glimpse into the book. As you can see on the right side here, it's giving you a preview of each page. So for this style of book, essentially we are creating staffs and putting them on each page. Now, you don't have to be a musician to do this. You just have to see what this looks like, but it is 5 lines in each staff. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 per page. So just use this as a reference, and that is the layout that we're going to use inside of our book. All right, so now that we've settled on what type of book we're going to create, and we looked up a good example, so we have an idea of what we're going to be creating for our own book, now we can actually get into the fun part of creating the book ourselves. So when we are creating our books, we have 2 steps. First is we have to create the front and back cover, and second is we have to create the template that is going to go on each page in the book. Now for the templates on the pages, I have a way where you can just click on pre-made templates and add them to your book, so that is going to be very simple to do. So first, let's start by creating the cover. All right, so when it comes to creating your covers for KDP books, you can use any graphic design tool that you want. I personally have premium access to a lot of the top graphic design tools. The one that works the best for Amazon KDP is called BookBolt. But this is what BookBolt looks like, and essentially they allow us to create the covers. They have pre-made layouts. They do all the formatting for us specifically for KDP. So it's not just a big general graphic design tool. Now, also what's cool about BookBolt is beyond just creating the covers, they have a whole list of the pre-made templates where you can just click and add them to your book. So guys, I'll go ahead and get logged into my account. But first, I always want to be really transparent with you guys. This is a paid tool. So if you click on their pricing, they've got 2 different plans that you can use here. So they've got a newbie plan and they have a pro plan over here. All we need for this tutorial is the newbie plan. It's going to give us all of those templates we can use and the ability to create our cover design. I will say very importantly, the difference between the newbie plan and the pro plan is the pro plan also gives you the puzzle creation software. So essentially what that means is if you're creating those word search books, all of the templates to create those custom word search puzzles are included in the pro plan. Now, 2 really important things to clarify about this is that both plans, the newbie and the pro, they both have a 3-day free trial. So you can follow along in this tutorial and for the next couple of days, totally for free on the free trial. Now, the last thing that's important to know is that I have a personal 20% off coupon code that works on either of these plans, and it's a lifetime coupon code. So it doesn't expire after just 1 month. I will put a link to that down in the description below. Feel free to use that when you sign up. It saves you a couple dollars every month. All right, guys, hopefully that helps to hear all of that about the pricing. I'm going to now get logged into my account and I'll show you how to do this step by step. All right, so once you get logged into BookBolt, over on the left side are all of the different tools that you can use. What we are going to do specifically is come up to research. We're going to click on that. We're going to switch it to create. Now from here, just click on the first one, which is BookBolt Studio. And this is going to open up the tool where we're going to create this entire book. So this is where I left off here. And this is one example that I can show you how to create right now. If you haven't seen this before for KDP, this is how you actually format your cover to upload it. This is your front cover right here. And this is your back cover right here. And then as you can see on the left side, this is what's on every single page. And all of the pages down on the left, they all have the same template on them. So for you guys, when you are coming in here for the first time, it's not going to look like this because you won't have an existing project. So what you are going to do is go to project in the top left and then go to new project and then fill it out just like this. So make sure that it says paperback, cover, and interior as the first setting, and then name it template. This is just going to be the first one that we're going to build, and then name it music sheet book, just so you know what this is when you're looking through all of your projects. And then 8.5x11. This is going to be really important. I'll explain that in a second here. And then trim size, click on this and make sure that you've set it to match that. So 8.5x11. This is 8.5 inches by 11 inches for our size, also known as trim size. And then next is black and white interior with white paper, bleed, have that selected and turned on, and 100 pages. Once yours looks exactly like this, go ahead and click on create project. Okay, so this is what every new project is going to look like. We have our cover selected over here, and this is our cover template that we're about to customize. And then again, over on the left side is all of the individual pages. At the moment, they are all left blank. I'll show you how to add those page layout templates here in a second. So as we just briefly talked about, the formatting on Amazon KDP is very specific. This is because they are printing books in their book printing facility. So those printers need everything to be sized and formatted exactly right in order for those printers to properly print the books. So when you open up a new project, the cover is going to have all of this information on it. It's going to have the red border, it's going to have these green lines, and then it's going to have this barcode location on the back left cover. You can pinch and you can zoom in here so you can read this better, but essentially the only information you need to know for all of these covers is that the red is where printing starts to get cut off. So everything that's important, most specifically text, your title or your subtitle, make sure that it's in the white and it doesn't touch the red. The other thing that's important to know is that Amazon will automatically put a barcode on the back of our books for us. So we want to make sure that we don't have any graphics or text that go into that area where it would be hidden by the barcode. Those are the only two important things that we need to know about this formatting. And once you are aware of both of those, you can just click on the transparency up top, and we're going to click on hide cover template and then click on OK. This then just leaves us with the green dotted lines. We know from seeing where that red was, we need to stay within the green dotted lines and stay out of this corner on the back cover. Okay, so those are the technicalities of the cover. Now we can get into actually creating it. So if you've zoomed in at all here by pinching, you can always pinch out so you can get a better look at this cover, or you can hit this little fit button in the bottom and then it's going to size it exactly how it started when you created this project. So with that being said, the first step is to click on the shapes icon. It's actually called elements if you hover over it. Click on that and then click on a rectangle. And then close out of this little window right here. It's going to give us more room to work with. And then we're going to click on that rectangle and we're going to drag it over the edge of this cover. So as you can see, I'm not lining it up to the edge. I'm dragging it well over the edge. Now, once you've done that, click on the bottom square here. And we're going to click, hold, and drag that all the way over the other edge. So guys, as you can see, this is very important. The light blue line that's showing where the shape is overflowing over our cover. That means that it's covering the entire thing. If you accidentally have it showing some white or lined up in any specific way like this is one of the most common mistakes, and Amazon will actually reject your book, saying that it needs to cover the entire cover so that the printers will print that book properly. So save yourself the hassle later of recreating this and just make sure that this covers the whole thing. Now, the next step we are going to do is below elements. We're going to go to text, click on that, and we're going to do add heading. Again, we are just going to close out of this side right here. And this is black on black, so it's a little bit hard to see. So click on the black color of the text and switch that to something lighter. Let's do white right now. Now we can actually see it. So we're going to click and we're going to drag that over to the right side. You are going to see once you get to the center of that front cover, it's going to snap into place. So let's just snap it right into the center. We can move all of this around while we were editing it, but just know once you finish this, make sure that things are lined up and centered. And using these snap tools like the center here or the center down here are going to be really helpful to make sure that we have everything lined up. All right, so once we've got this heading right here, we can actually double click on it and we can type in anything we want to create the title of our book. So quickly, let's come back over to Amazon. Let's look at some of the titles on some of the books that are ranking well on Amazon right now. So we've got music, notebook, wide staff. We've got blank sheet, piano music notebook for kids, music manuscript paper, wide staff music manuscript paper, and A4 size sheet music manuscript paper. So you can use these titles as inspiration. You want to have something that's very similar to this. This means that customers know what these currently are. We want to make sure that they know what ours is once we upload it. So in the example that I showed you guys just before, it said music manuscript paper. Let's go ahead and create something just like that. So we'll type in music. And then if you want another line of text, you can either press enter and you can type it in here. I don't recommend doing that. It doesn't give you as much customization options. I recommend one of two other ways. So first is you can just go and you can right click this and you can duplicate it. It's going to put it directly on top of the first one, but just know that you can click and you can drag this down. It's going to be the same size, the same font, and then you can just type in what you want in the second box. So manuscript paper. And then as you can see, that's a little bit too big. So let's just click off of it, click back on it, it's going to give us these circles in the corner. You can just click and you can drag those down and you can make your own custom size. Now, the other way that you can add text to this if you don't want to right click and duplicate is again, just come right back over to the left side. You can add in text, add another heading, and then close this out. And then obviously this starts as black again, so switch that to white. And then you've got more text you can work with. I typically just go with the duplicate if I'm creating something similar. It seems to be more efficient for me, but that's how you would add it both ways. Now, if you don't want this anymore, just click on it and just click on delete. It'll take that right out. All right, so coming back to Amazon and looking at some of these books that we're using as inspiration for our cover, as you can see with a lot of these, they have kind of a subtitle down here on the cover that shows what's inside of the book specifically. So let's go ahead and add something like that as well. We'll add 100 blank staff pages because our book is 100 pages. That's what we set in the beginning. So again, I'm going to just right click here. I'm going to duplicate it. We'll bring that down and let's type in 100 blank staff pages. All right, and then here's a good point to show you how to change the actual font for this. So I don't want this to be the same font, just in a different size. So let's click on this down here, and we're going to click on the Open Sans, which is the type of your font. And then this will open up a dropdown of all of these copyright-free and commercially usable fonts. This is actually really important to KDP, and a lot of people don't know this, that on big general graphic design tools, a lot of them have a ton of fonts that you can choose from, but it doesn't tell you if other people own the rights to those fonts. So if you are going to put that on your project and go sell your project somewhere, it's not limited to just KDP, you need to make sure that someone doesn't own the rights to the fonts that you used in your project. So on Bookbolt, again, they have designed this specifically for KDP, so all of these fonts we can use and we can sell and make a profit with our books. So you can really just click around here and you can look at what these fonts look like when they change in the background. And then once you find one of these that you like, you can just click on OK. And then again, you can just make this bigger or smaller and snap it to the center so everything lines up. So guys, so far this still looks like a very basic cover. There's a few things that we can do here that really take it to the next level. So I'll show you how to do those. First is going to be adding a graphic to this cover. So if you go over to the left side and you click on the graphics right here, this is going to open up the graphics library. So first is My Uploads, but then you have Pixabay and you have Unsplash. Both Pixabay and Unsplash are libraries of copyright-free, commercially usable graphics that we can use in our KDP books. So just like we were talking about with the fonts, the same thing applies for graphics. So come into either of these and you can search for topics in your niche. So let's type in music to start with. This is going to give you a bunch of graphics related to music. You can keep scrolling down here. This is going to keep loading and it's nearly an infinity scroll. So you can just keep scrolling. You'll get a bunch of ideas here. Although you can click on any of these graphics, if you click on one that is truly just a graphic here, it doesn't look really professional when you add it to your cover. It doesn't really matter what size you make it. It's not going to look professional on your cover. So one tip that I can give you here, and I'm just going to click on this and delete it. Let's go back to graphics and type in music and type in icon. Now I do this for all different types of niches. It's going to work for music as well. But what this is going to do is give you icons that have a transparent background. So as you can see, this is a music note with a transparent background. So what I am looking for is music notes, something that I can overlay just like we have seen over here. So beyond just typing for music, I'm actually going to type in music notes icon. And this is going to give us much better results that we can work with here. So let's see if we can find that one that we used before, which I believe is this one. We'll click on it. It's going to add it directly to our cover, but as you can see, it's black on black. Just go over to the image effects whenever you want to change the color of an image, and you can click around on these to change the color of your image whenever you do it. What we are looking for specifically is to invert the colors. So what that means is from black, we'll invert it to the opposite, which is white. So let's click on invert right here, and then we'll turn that on. And this is just going to turn everything that was black to the total opposite, which is white. You can do the same thing if you have something that is white and you want to turn it to black. You can just use the invert feature right here. We'll click on OK. And just like that, that adds a design to our front cover that just took it from looking very simple to looking like something that's more professional. So guys, as you can see, the cover that we have created just now is almost complete to the one that we started with as an example. The last step here is we need to add the example of what's going to be inside of the book on the back cover. Now, you may be wondering why I add this to the back cover. This is a really good trick for using KDP, is that when you go look at listings, it doesn't show you in anywhere of the listing what is going to be inside of that book. So you can either do the kind of preview of what's inside of the book. That's a really good way to do this. Or you can put a preview on the back cover, which is a great use of your back cover. So looking at these other ones here, they did it here as well. They gave you a preview. They actually went a little bit too big in my opinion. It covered up the barcode, and you can see that they probably didn't use Bookbolt to create this because it's not properly formatted. The margin on this side is a little bit thicker than the margin over here. The same for the top and the bottom. Guys, again, this is why I recommend using a software that does all the formatting for you. You won't run into errors like this, and your listing will look a lot more professional. But anyways, that's why I create this preview on the back so that people can see that in the front and back cover, and they know what's going to be inside of that book. So that is actually the last step for this cover. We just have to add this to the back, but in order to add that to the back, we first have to add it to the pages in our book. So let's go back to the one that we are creating step by step. Let's click on the first page here, which is currently blank, and then we're going to come over to the puzzle icon right here. this is actually going to be all of our page templates. So as I was mentioning before, we don't have to create these templates from scratch. BookBolt has a library of all these templates that we can just find the one we want to use, click on it, and it adds it to every page in our book. So I'll scroll through these so you can just get an idea of what they offer. But as you can see, the scroll bar is pretty small here, so they do have a lot of templates to choose from. And then any of them that you see that have a green label, that means that there are variants of that template. So for instance, this is handwriting paper that we're looking at. There's 3 different variants of that layout. Now this is actually the music sheet that we're going to use right here. Let's go ahead and click on the music sheet, and then it's going to give us 2 different variants here. We have 5 lines and we have 7 lines. More commonly in music is 5 lines, so that's what we are going to use. And then this is going to say, what pages do you want this added to? If you want to add this to just one page, you can just click on the page. What we really want to do is add it to every page, so the whole book has the same layout. So let's just click on the select all button right here. It highlights every page, and we just want to uncheck the cover. We don't want to add it to the cover. At least we don't want to add it there yet. So without clicking on anything, if you want to just see that this selected everything, you can just scroll down. All 100 pages are selected, and then just click on continue to options. And then this is going to give you a couple formatting options of how you want your page to look. So the template is already created. We are just saying, how big do we want that template to be? How many staffs do we want per page? So if you can remember, when we were looking at this example, it has 6 staffs per page. So for our settings here, we can try to recreate something similar. So without changing anything, just to get an idea of what it's starting at, just click on preview right here, and it's going to show you what this looks like. So if we don't change anything, it will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 staffs per page. This is actually totally usable. We can use it as is. If you do want to customize this, you can change the line width, or basically how thick that line is. So if we set this to the maximum of 10 and we click on preview again, you will see that it's kind of bolded. It's a lot darker. That's all we're changing with that option. I'm going to go ahead and leave that back on 5. Now the same goes for down here. You can just start to increase or decrease these numbers. It's just going to change the layout. Whenever you change something, just click on preview and you can see if you like it better or if you want to go back to how it started by default. So I'm not going to change anything else here. Let's just click preview one more time. This is what this is going to look like inside of our book. So let's just X out of that and we'll click on submit. That's the only other thing we have to click here. So now you just wait for this. It's going to literally create all of these templates and format it onto each page in your book. I haven't even fast forwarded this and it's already added it to all 100 pages. So as you scroll down here, you can see every page is the same throughout this book and it is all within the print area. So the same formatting with the green dotted lines where you have to stay within for Amazon KDP, that applies to both the cover as we saw before, but also every page that you create. So that just literally did every page in our book. The last step we have to do here is to add it to our back cover to show the preview. So there's 2 steps to do this. The first is to go back to shapes, go to rectangle. Again, close out of this so we can work with it. This is black on black, and I do want to change it to white. So just click on the background color. We'll switch that to white. Now drag this over to the left side. I'm going to drag it kind of roughly into the corner here. Then I'm going to expand that out to the right side, and then I'm going to drag it down here. And we are really just guessing at this point. We will dial this in further in a second. I'm going to go down where it is above that barcode. So remember the barcodes in this bottom corner? I want to stay above that so I'm not overlapping it. Now that we've got this roughly sized, go back to your first page. We're just going to right click, copy. Now go back to the cover, and you're going to right click over on the side here. You don't want to right click on an actual element, and then we're going to paste it. Now, as you can see, this template is actually bigger than the rectangle that we've added here. So I'm just going to put it into the corner, kind of like this. I'm going to click on this bottom circle and I'm going to drag it in so that it fits within that rectangle that we've just added. So we're almost done here. I'm just going to click and hold this and drag it till it snaps to the center. And then I'm going to click on the rectangle that's behind it and I'm going to do the same thing. So snap that to the center and then make sure the top and the bottom have roughly the same amount of space that is on the side. So as you can see, there's this much space here that is centered with this one. I've tried to create the same size here and I'm actually going to click and drag it down a little bit to create the same size at the bottom. This makes sure that everything is centered with even spacing so that it looks professional. So guys, just like that, we have just completed this whole book. Now, if I were you, I would spend some more time here just changing these fonts. Again, this was the example we started with. All I did different was spent more time choosing the fonts specifically. The books other than that are identical. So from here, our book is actually complete. We're ready to download it and go upload it to Amazon KDP. So when you're ready to download it, go over to download and then click on download current project CMYK. It's the first option here. There's nothing else to do here. Just give this a second to load. It will download it directly to your computer. Okay, and then once this is downloaded, you'll get this message right here that says your download should have automatically started. This will now be downloaded onto your computer. Now there's a very important step right here. It is super small and a lot of people skip this. What this is that this downloads as a .zip file. Now, a .zip file just means that you're downloading multiple files at once, and you have to click and unzip that file to turn it into a folder that you can actually use on your computer. Now, I know that may sound a little bit confusing, but all you need to do here is once this downloads, find it in your downloads and just double click on it. This is simply going to turn that into a folder that you can actually use on your computer. What a lot of people get wrong here is they don't actually unzip the file. So when they get over to KDP here in the next step and they go to upload it, KDP won't let you upload a .zip file because it contains multiple files within it. They want just the specific file of the cover, the specific file of what's inside of the book. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to click on OK. We now can go over to Amazon KDP and we can actually go upload this book. But first, I do want to just try to cram a little bit more value into the cover designing process. I've showed you the fundamentals of how to do this, but I do want to show you some other examples. So I'm just going to scroll through some other templates that I've made on my account, and I'll show you some of the little features that I've added to them and how you can add them to your own covers just to make your covers look even more professional. So on this cover specifically, there are two things that we have done different. One, we have added a shape in the background here, so it creates kind of a header that is pulled off of the background color. And the second thing is a texture so that this looks like a composition notebook. So first I'll show you the texture here. We'll just go over to this little paintbrush. This is going to be your textures. And then you can just click around and it's going to add textures directly to your cover. Now, once you find one that you like, let's say that we want to use this one. Let's just close back out of here. And we're actually going to go to the other side here and we're going to pull this menu out. This menu is going to show you every single item that you have on this cover design, and you can actually reorder them. So you can put something above something else. So you can really start to customize this. So I have this set right above the blue background so that none of this is covered with the texture. Only the blue has that composition notebook texture. If you do want to, you can click and you can drag this and you can put it anywhere. So if I were to put it all the way at the top, this is now actually covering everything with that texture. It's a little bit hard to see here, but that's how you do this. So you can click and drag this to any area and you can see if it looks better or if it looks worse. I usually put it just over that background color in the background. That way it's only added to that background color. Now this is actually how we do the header as well. So as you can see, the text is on top of the header. So the way that I've done this is just added a shape, just something like a rectangle right here. Close out of this. I've changed the color of that to white, and then I've dragged it over the text. And this actually already added that rectangle behind it. But let's say it was all the way in the front, it would actually be covering it. So that's just the way that you use this feature on the right side, is you can pull this behind things so that you can put text over top of it and things like that. Now, another cool layout you can do here is show that preview on the right side. So this one actually has a texture and the preview. Well, the way that you do this preview is to click on this background color that we used here. Remember, we typically have it covering the whole thing. All you do is just pull it a little bit to the left. There is no specific place that you have to put it here. And then I've gone back over here and I've right clicked and I've copied, go back to our cover here. And then I'm just going to right click and paste. And this is going to add it. Remember, we can't see it because it's black on black. And all I've done is just pulled that to the right over here. And then I've just had that overlapping over the edge. That is truly how simple you create this preview look that people have in their listings. Now, again, just make sure that you have looked at your layers to make sure that that layer is in the back, so it is not covering our manuscript paper or our cover that's on the front. Now, the last one that I'll show you here is you can actually add an image to your entire background. So the same thing that we would do here to pull that text off of the background by adding that header, but then just go into images, go over to Pixabay or Unsplash and type in something like music that relates to the niche. You can then select any image you want to use here and then just drag this over your entire cover, just like we did with the background color. And then remember, we go over to the right side and we can adjust the layer. So this is that new image we just added. We can pull that all the way to the back. And just like that, you can change the entire background of your book. So guys, if I didn't show you all of those extra features, I would have felt like I was doing you a disjustice. I know there's a ton of information in this video already, but I wanted to make sure that you knew all these little tricks so that you can make the best covers for yourself. So with that being said, now let's go over to Amazon KDP. We will take the files that we've just downloaded to our computer and we'll actually go through uploading them on KDP. All right, so come back over to Amazon KDP's homepage. And if this is your first time through, you don't have an account yet, that's okay. Just click on Join KDP. It's going to take you a couple minutes, but you can set it up right away. For those of you who are returning, just click on Sign In, and this is going to take you to your dashboard. So once you get to your dashboard, it's going to look just like this. What we want to do is click on the big yellow Create button right here. And then very importantly, we want to click on Paperback. This is the one in the middle, and this is going to create the right books for KDP. Okay, so once you've gotten to here, this is the upload process for KDP. I will walk you through each one of these boxes and we will literally do it step by step. So the very first thing here is the language. Just leave that set on English. If you are creating your books in other languages, you can change the language, but I would recommend creating these in English. I think there is the biggest market for English buyers here. So then we get into our first important step. This is our book title and our subtitle. For the book title, you want to write exactly what is on the cover of your book. So let's go back over to our book on Book Bolt. This says music, manuscript, paper. Now we have put in kind of a subtitle down here. So you you do not have to include that in your title if you don't want to. So let's go ahead and type in music manuscript paper. Now the book subtitle, this is where we can actually get creative and we can give ourselves a lot of ranking power on Amazon. So if you don't know what I mean by ranking power, essentially what that is when someone goes over to Amazon and they type in blank music sheet notebook, we want our book to show up on the first page. Now the way that we do that is by telling Amazon what our book is about. And one of the best places to do that is in our book subtitle. So you can fill out anything you want in your book subtitle. I have found the best way to do this is to go over to Amazon and type in the niche that you want to show up for. So blank music sheet notebook, and start looking through the top results and seeing what they are using in their title and their subtitle. Now, obviously their title should be what is on the cover, but their subtitle has a lot of keywords in it that we can also use. So you can start looking at these and seeing if you can pull ideas out of there. So blank sheet music notebook. What I would do is click on this. I would go ahead and copy this blank sheet music notebook, and then I would go paste that in a list. That is one of the keywords we're going to use. Let's go back. Let's click on the next one. Blank sheet music composition manuscript, staff paper. These are different keywords that we can put in our subtitle so that Amazon knows what our book is as well. So spend some time going through here, opening up some of the top results, and then making a big list of all the keywords that they are using. Now, for those of you who have seen my videos before, you know that I always have a process for all of this. So I already have a big list of these. I will put them up on the screen for you guys so you can screenshot that. You can put that in your own notes. So when you are going to create your subtitle, you can use all of these to create your subtitles. So I'll go ahead and put one of these together with you. The most important things to consider here are: one, you want to make sure that every book that you are uploading, it can be in the same niche. Just make sure that it doesn't have the same subtitle. You want to make sure it's random on every book you create. And secondly is that you don't want to repeat the same keywords. So some of these keywords you will see have some of these same words in them. Try to use a combination of them that have different words throughout them, so Amazon doesn't think that you are trying to repeat keywords or what they call keyword stuffing. So here's our first one here. The way to format this is click on space, hold down shift, and add a bar. Click on space again. This is where we're going to add our next one in. Okay, here's our second one, and we can go ahead and add a third one as well. And essentially this would be our title and our subtitle. So we have blank sheet music notebook, staff paper notebook, staff manuscript pad. So as you can see, this is a combination that doesn't repeat these keywords, so we're not reusing them over and over again. And the last thing that you can do here, if you would like to, it's optional, is add another bar and put in the amount of pages and the size of the book. So 100 pages, and then this is 8.5 by 11 inches. So guys, that is how you do your book title and your subtitle. This is how I would format your subtitle. You can use the phrases that I've already pulled out for you guys, or you can go to Amazon and keep building off of that list so you have even more to use. So that is our title and our subtitle completed. So after that, scroll down. You can go right past series. We don't have to use that. You can go right past edition number. We don't need that either. And that brings us into the author name. So for the author name, you can type in your first and last name, or if you don't want these books to show up when people Google your name, then you can use a pen name. So a pen name is just an anonymous way to do this business. It's basically just an author name that you come up with. So if you come up with an idea for an author name, you can type that in, first and last name. And what's really cool about this is you don't need to register this name. You don't have to form a business to use it. You don't need to register a doing business as. You can really just come up with a fake name. The very important things to consider here, though, is that you can't use a name that is trademarked. So think about company names or TV shows, movie characters. All of those things are owned by other people or companies, so we can't use them to profit off of. Secondly is if someone is already using the pen name that we've come up with, we will not be able to use it. Amazon will tell us that we need to change our author name in order for that book to go live on Amazon. So my best advice for you guys, if you don't have something at the top of your mind, is just to use your initials. So GG would be Greg Gottfried, and then type in the niche that you're going into. So this would be music sheets. And then this brings us right into another interesting point, which is that every book that you create on Amazon KDP, you can use either the same author name or a different author name. You could literally do a different author name for every book that you publish. This is what makes it cool for us, is that no matter what niches we are going into or what type of books we are creating, we can always just start it with what are our initials and then what type of book or notebook or journal is that. All right, so once that's set for author, next up is contributors. This is if anyone else helped you create the book and you want to also list them kind of as an author, you can add them as a contributor here. Now, something good to know is that you can add and delete contributors after your book has been published. You can do that at any time. For the author name, once it has been approved and published, you can't change the author name. That's just something that you would learn from doing this over and over again, but hopefully that saves you some headache down the road. So this brings us right into our description. This is another really important part of the process because this gives us a really big opportunity to tell Amazon what our book is about, again, to help us rank better on the platform. So I don't actually write my descriptions on KDP here. I have an efficient way to do this. So I go over to ChatGPT. This is a free artificial intelligence tool. You don't even have to create an account to use this. You can just go to ChatGPT chatgpt.com. By the way, I will put a link to ChatGPT. I will put a link to all the tools or resources that we've used throughout this video in the description below. So all of this will be easy to find. You don't have to go anywhere to try to search and find what we've been using. So there's actually two parts to this process. So first we're going to type in what are the benefits of using, and then we'll put in the type of book that we are creating. So this is a blank music manuscript notebook. And then we'll give that a search. And this is just going to write out what are the benefits to using a book like this. Just let this keep writing. Once this finishes, there's 10 benefits right there. That's pretty awesome. We're then going to say, turn these benefits into a compelling Amazon product description for a music manuscript notebook with 100 pages, 7 staffs per page, and 8.5 by 11 inches size. And then just click on enter. And then this is going to take all of those benefits and turn it into a custom written, because we've given it more details, Amazon product description that we can then just copy and paste over to KDP. So here we go. It's written all this out for us. We can then just go ahead and copy all of this. We'll select it all, right click, copy, go back over to KDP. We're going to right click and we can paste it. So now a very quick but important step here. We want to read through this and take out anything that is not relevant to the book we have created. Yes, ChatGPT makes this process a lot faster, but you always need to proofread this. Just spend 1 minute and take out anything that is not relevant. So the first thing I'm seeing here is very common. Amazon KDP doesn't want you talking about the quality or durability of their books. As we've seen from these books, the quality is good, but Amazon doesn't want you saying something specific about the type of paper that they use or their printing process, because this can cause a lot of problems for Amazon down the road if the seller is saying that the books are printed on a certain type of paper, but Amazon doesn't use that type of paper. So anytime you see something that says 100 pages of premium quality, let's just take that out. Any reference to quality, we'll take that out. So here's another heading that talks about quality. I'm just going to take that out. We've got plenty of other information throughout this description, so it's not going to matter that we remove one section. All right, so the rest of this looks good. So that is our description right there. We can keep scrolling down. The next is, do you own the copyright to this? Yes, we created this, so we own the copyright to this and hold the necessary publishing rights. Primary audience, click on no, and we don't have to set an age here. There is no minimum or maximum age to purchase it. Leave the primary marketplace on Amazon.com. That is where I think you're going to get the most sales here. And then this brings us to categories. So we get to pick 3 categories to tell Amazon what our book is about and what it should be categorized as. So go ahead and click on choose categories and then go to select one. And then depending on what type of book you are creating, you can find 3 categories that match it. But for this blank music sheets, we're going to go to arts and photography, and then we're going to go to select one. We will go to music. And then again, to select one, I would go to songbooks and go to blank music sheet. That'll be our first one here. Now, since there's none others in here that I want to be using here, I'll go to add another category. We can start over again. So we'll go to select one, arts and photography. We're going to go to select one again. Go to music, and then this time we're going to go into theory, composition, and performance. This will give us a couple more that we can use. So the 2 that I would recommend are composition and songwriting. This is going to give Amazon a really good idea as to what our books are about. So there's all 3. We can't do any more than that, so we're just going to click on Save Changes, and those categories are all set for us. So now we have 2 more options here before we move on. First is going to be, is this a low content book? Yes, we are going to turn that on. This is a low content book. And essentially what a low content book is a book that just has templates inside on every page. Amazon also has medium and high content books. The way to think about it is basically the more information, the more custom a book is, the higher it is. So a word search book would be a medium content book. We created those custom puzzles. Something like a full-fledged novel, that is a high content book. So in order for that to make a little bit more sense, this is Amazon's kind of categorization of low content versus medium and high content. So for us specifically, this is going to fall into blank music sheets. Now, this is not an all-encompassing list, so you may create other categories of books that are not listed right here, but you will get an idea of, does it fit better in low content or in medium or high content? So yes, we are going to say this is a low content book. And then is it a large print book? Meaning, does it have over 16-point font in the entire book? And since this book specifically doesn't actually have any text inside of the book, it's just the staffs on each page, we are not going to select this because we don't want to confuse anyone. So guys, that's it for categories. Next up is the keywords. This again is going to be super simple for us to do. All of those keywords that we have pulled out of the other popular books and we're using for our subtitles, we can copy paste them in here. The important things to know here are that no, you don't need to capitalize these. No, you don't need to put any punctuation, so you don't need a period at the end. And third, just make sure you don't have any typos here. You're just going to be doing yourself a disjustice. You're going to miss out on traffic by not spelling all these keywords properly. So let me just go ahead and copy paste mine in here real quick. Okay, and there we go. I've copy pasted all of them here. You can put put them in a total random order. Now you can only put 7 of these keywords in here, and the list that you're pulling from for your subtitles is probably going to have more than 7 keywords. So for every book that you create that's still in the same niche, just pick a combination of 7 different ones so that you can try to reach the most people on Amazon throughout all of your books. Now, when it comes to these keywords, you are allowed to repeat the keywords. You don't have to be as specific as the subtitle to make sure that you're not repeating anything, but the only kind of limitation here is you can only have 50 characters total. So like this one is 50 characters, I believe, total. So you can't write anything else at the end of it. So just keep that in mind for some of your keywords. You may have to condense them down a little bit to fit within the 50. All right, guys, so that is the keywords. That's done. Now we can say publication date and release date are the same. Just leave that as is. We can leave release my book for sale now as is and click on save and continue. Okay, so next up is publish without an ISBN. Just leave that as is. For those of you that don't know what an ISBN number is, it's basically a serial number or a specific number that identifies your book. Now, for medium content books, you do get an ISBN number. It's above your barcode. Amazon gives that to you totally for free. For low content books, like the ones that we're creating or the lined pages, they do give us the barcode, but we don't get an ISBN number. There is no harm to this. It's just something that I wanted to explain so you knew what we were talking about. So all we do is leave this as published without an ISBN, and we can keep moving on. Leave this as black and white interior with white paper. Trim size, we do want to make sure that we get this right. So this book is 8.5 by 11. So click on select a different size. And in more standard trim sizes, 8.5 by 11 is right here. Always make sure that your trim size that you're selecting here is the same that we have created on BookBolt. If you don't have these exactly the same, then Amazon's going to kick the book back to you and tell you that you need to correct it. Next up is bleed or no bleed. We have bleed set on our cover by default, but we do not need bleed for the inside of our book. Essentially what that is if you have printing all the way to the edges of your pages. We don't have that. We're within the green dotted line, so we are within the printing area, so we don't need to have bleed. And then the last section here is, do you want matte finish or glossy finish? This is talking about the cover when it gets printed. So it's the same cost to do it either way. This is a glossy finish, so it reflects the light. This is a matte finish, so it's softer to the touch, and it doesn't reflect the light. For you guys, you can choose either one, whichever you prefer. It's really not going to make a difference here. Like I said, it doesn't change the cost. And the customer who receives it, I don't even think that in most cases, they're going to recognize a difference between matte or glossy. So up to you, however you want to set this. I'll leave it as matte. And then we'll scroll down here and we get to actually upload the files that we downloaded from BookBolt. So first up is the manuscript. If you click on this button, it brings you into the downloads on your computer where you have the folder that we saved from BookBolt. So just click on that. And this is going to be the files that BookBolt downloads for each one of the books that you create. So the first one here is paperback interior. Let's click on that. This is the one that we want to upload as our manuscript. Whenever you hear manuscript, just think of interior. That's going to be the same thing. So we'll click on upload, give this just 1 second to load, and it's going to upload that file. It says save successful. And then for the next one is our book cover. We actually already have our own book cover. So we're going to click on upload a cover that you already have. We'll click on the yellow button right here. And instead of the interior this time, we're going to do the other one, which is paperback cover. Click on that one and upload it. Again, just give this a second to load. It'll say save successful, and then just wait 1 additional second here, and you're going to see that you already have a green check mark for the manuscript, but then it's going to pop up with a green check mark for your cover. This is just giving you confirmation that both of these have been uploaded successfully. So both of those are good now. We can keep scrolling down. There's a little button here that I want you to be aware of. It says, yes, my cover has a barcode. We want Amazon to give us that barcode for free, so we want to leave this unchecked. We want them to put it in automatically for us. Now, next up is AI generated content. No, we didn't use AI to create this book, so let's just click on no. And then book preview. This allows us to launch the previewer, and it shows us what would be sent to their print facility. So we can check for errors and we can get an idea of what this will actually look like. So let's click on launch previewer. And now you get to actually see this, and you can confirm that there's no errors in the printing. This, if you recognize it, is the same layout that BookBolt was showing us before. So we know everything's within the dotted lines. Nothing's going to get printed outside of it. There's no overlapping of the barcode. You can click on the next page just to make sure. As you can see, all of these are within the dotted lines. Just a little bit like that on the edge is totally fine. It's because we went all the way to the edges. But important text and things like that are not overlapping past the print cutoff area. So guys, you really don't need to check every page here, but if you want to, you can scroll through it and see it all. Once you've checked it out and seen that the formatting is good, and most importantly, there's no typos on your cover, you can click on approve and then scroll all the way to the bottom here. And we're going to click on save and continue. Okay, so we're on the last page of the upload process. This is where we get to actually set our price and see how much profit we're going to make on each sale. So the first thing here is territories. Leave this on for sale in all territories. This is just going to give you the most sales. Primary marketplace, Amazon.com. We can't even change it, so just leave that as is. And then this is where we get to set our price. So this is pretty cool. So I'll go through this with you so all of this makes sense. But the very first thing is when you're going into a new niche, and like I said, there's so many different types of books you can create, but going into the music sheets notebook, what you want to do is go over to Amazon and pull up the books that we've been using as reference, kind of the top sellers here, and see what they are priced at. So $6.99, $5.99, $7.99, $7.99, again, $7.99. So I would price your book somewhere in this range. You are going to find out if your book is selling a lot that you might be pricing it a little bit too low. If you've priced it too high, you're going to see less sales. However, kind of a golden nugget of info I can give you from my KDP experience is that I've tried pricing at $5.99 and $7.99, and I've seen the same amount of sales, just a bigger profit margin on the $7.99 books. So what I would recommend for you to do is price it at $7.99 in this instance. I can see that there are plenty of other people doing that, and I think you're going to get just as many sales as if you were to price it at $5.99. So let's go over here. We'll type in $7.99, and it's going to auto-populate this whole chart for us. So let me pull up a calculator so this all makes sense. We only have to understand the first line, and the rest of this will make sense for us. But basically, for the Amazon.com marketplace, we are setting this for sale at $7.99. Of the $7.99, we are going to get 60% of that. That is our split of this sale. So we will say times 0.6 equals $4.79. That's how much is coming to us. However, we also have to cover the cost of printing. It always comes out of the amount that the customer has paid, so we are never on the hook to pay for this out of pocket. However, the cost of printing on this book is $2.84. So we do minus $2.84 equals $1.95 in profit. So that is what it's saying right here. The royalty is $1.95. So for every single book that we sell for $7.99, we are going to get $1.95 in profit put into our account. As those profits build up every single month, they will be paid out to you automatically. Amazon just automatically pays them. You don't have to initiate a payout or anything. So guys, that is kind of how this pricing works. There is one option over here for expanded distribution. We can't click it on for low content books. Expanded distribution is where Amazon will take your book from Amazon and also put it with kind of their partner sites, and they'll try to get you sales off of Amazon's marketplace. I haven't seen anything drastic as far as sales on my other books that have this enabled, so I really don't think that you're missing out on that by not being able to select that. Now, the last important thing about pricing here is that this lists our book on Amazon.com. That's what we've set the price for, but Amazon KDP books can also be listed in all of the other Amazon marketplaces. And this just gives us far more exposure. Amazon will print and ship these orders to all those locations for us. But the one thing that I recommend doing is that they are going to match this price in US dollars as closely as they can in other currencies. I would always round this up to the closest 99. It is going to give it the best look on your listing. And there's plenty of research that's been done in business saying that something ending in 99 or 98 or 97 is going to convert, or people are going to purchase it more often than full rounded up numbers like $7.00 or random numbers like we're seeing here. So take just a second here to round all of these up to 99. And then guys, once you finish this, you are down to the last yellow button over here that says publish your paperback book. If you've made it this far and you've clicked on publish your paperback book, that is everything in this process. You've done it step by step, and you just have to wait on Amazon. They have 3 days, which is 72 hours, for them to look over the book that you've submitted, make sure that there's no typos, make sure that the title is matching the cover, everything that we've gone over in this tutorial. And once they have deemed that your book is okay to go on the marketplace, they will approve it, and that will be live on Amazon. Now, I'll also say that it is very regular for them to reject your book for some reason. I know reject is a hard word. They're really just emailing you back saying, hey, we want you to change these couple things, or we found a typo, change that, resubmit it to us, and within another 3 days or 72 hours, hopefully then the second time they will approve it and it will be live on the marketplace. But guys, that is the entire process. And from this point, once you've published this first book, you can go back and create even more books in this niche, or you can pick a different topic of books and repeat this process to create those. As a reminder to you guys, all of the links, including the 20% off coupon code to BookBolt, they're all going to be linked down in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, just let me know down in the comments. If you did enjoy it, please just give it a thumbs up and show me some love down there in the comments as well. I will keep making these full tutorials that go step by step and not charging you guys for it in a course. So I really hope that you appreciate that. And if you want to see anything specific covered in a future video, just let me know. All right, guys, that is it for this one. I will plan on seeing you all in the next video.